Hi y'all, I'm Tristan Brown, co-curator of the blog MD and Esquire, which can also be accessed at www.mdnesquire.org, and I'm also an incoming law student at Georgetown University Law Center. And so today I've decided to follow up behind Suzette's admissions advice post with my own blog of some admissions advice tailored particularly to law school students. So before we get into the portion of crafting a valuable application for law school, when it comes to deciding to law schools that you may be interested in going into, I know that a lot of times students are not definitively sure about what practice of law that they would like to really pursue. But if you have an idea of a specific area of law that you're interested in, it's wise to research different programs that are top programs in whatever field you may be interested in, whether it's criminal law, intellectual property, or different things of that nature. But when it comes to crafting your application, first of all, we all know that law school and the cost that you incur along with trying to get into law school can really add up and become just super, super expensive. So my first point would be to definitely reach out to schools that you're interested in applying to ask for fee waivers. 9 times out of 10, if you just ask, they will give them to you. And if you also have the resources and the funds to travel to schools, just to show your face and show your interest in that particular program, that also gets you additional points when it comes to your application. And a lot of times schools or universities that you may attend, they'll have different law days where law schools will come to your school, and you can just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone by going to different law school tables that may come to your school. And a lot of times those different law programs or law schools will come with fee waivers for students already who come to see their tables and things like that. But to get right into the application portion of things, as far as when you're applying to law school, things that can help your application stand out. First of all, and I think the most important thing on the application besides your numbers, is your personal statement. If you are a borderline applicant whose LSAT score or GPA may not be what law schools are, used to seeing, your personal statement is kind of that make or break portion of your application that can really nudge you into being admitted into a particular program. So don't shy away from things that you may find to be embarrassing or things that you may want to keep personal, because those types of things, such as obstacles you may have overcome, adversities that you've had to face, economic challenges, personal challenges that you've pushed through and overcome, those really show your strength and your character. And a lot of law schools like to see students who can really add more value besides just having strong scores. So in your personal statement, a lot of times I advise just taking a personal situation and expanding on that in your personal statement to say, for instance, how a certain situation encouraged you to want to pursue to go to law school. You don't want to use your personal statement portion of your application to basically duplicate your resume, because schools already ask to see your resume. So you want to give new and fresh information in all aspects of your application, so schools basically have a whole breadth of who you are as an individual and who you are as a potential law student. So your personal statement, the operative word in that is personal. You want to make it personal, and you want to really give the admissions committee a look inside to who you are as a person and not just a student. So as I've said already, the personal statement is like the hugest portion of your application. So you want to really make sure that you put a lot of thought and energy into that with the numbers, because the numbers unfortunately are a big part of your application. If you have a GPA that is below the median of what a law school expects for their students to have, there's a certain thing called an addendum that you can include in your law school application. And basically an addendum is a section where you can explain what happened. Say, for instance, you had a rough semester due to a family emergency, or you may have had to work and go to school at the same time. You never want to just submit your application and leave room for a committee to ask questions as to what may have happened with a particular applicant. So like I said, they rather you be open instead of leaving windows open for them to kind of assume different things about you and what you've had to go through. So with an addendum, Don't feel as though all hope is lost if your GPA is a little shaky, because it's okay. You're not the only one who's applying who may have had a rough semester or a bad LSAT score. So with an addendum, please be sure to include that if you want to explain something that may have happened that you think a committee may frown upon or may question. So please be sure to include addendums if you feel as though it's necessary. Don't think that it's an excuse, or law schools look at those as an excuse, because they don't. They respect more that you are open with them, so they don't have to kind of assume things about you and what you may have had going on. Your letters of recommendation, those are also a really, really important part of your application. With your letters of recommendation, you want to make sure the people who are writing them really know you as a person and as a student. You don't want to seek out people who may have influence, power, or prestige in the community within a particular job industry, because if it's not reflecting in the letter that they really know you, then it really just doesn't matter to an admissions committee. It's kind of showing that you have really no other resources that could advocate on your behalf. So don't try to embellish in your application that you may know the President of the United States with your letter of recommendation. You'd rather get a letter from your dean, a professor, a community service organizer or leader within the community, and those speak volumes. If you are having a hard time finding someone to write your letter of recommendation, you can reach out to a professor, for instance, whose class you really did good in. And if you didn't have a personal relationship, or they didn't really have many conversations with you, a lot of professors are willing for you to just write the letter for them and they'll sign off on it. And I think that's kind of a win-win situation, because you have the opportunity to basically put what you would want an admissions committee to read about you in a letter, and just have someone okay it with their signature. So if you are having a hard time finding someone at your university or in your community that you may not have had a personal relationship with, you can try that route as far as seeing if they'll be okay with you writing the letter for them, and they just sign it for you. And so when putting together your law school application, those few pointers that I just gave are some valuable tips that could really help to make your application stand out. And I do plan on following up with another video vlog type of thing about interviews, because a lot of law schools, they do reach out to do alumni interviews or school interviews, and those are just another beast to tackle in themselves. So be looking out for my next vlog on doing the follow-up interviews once you've submitted your application, and if a law school asks for you to do an interview with an alum or with their school. So if you have any questions, you can definitely email me or Suzette, who does the medical school portion. You can email us at mdandesquire@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mdandesquire, and you can check us out at our site at www.mdandesquire.org. And I'll see you somewhere next time. Thank you.